Good morning. We'll start session 5 on chapter surface area and volume. This is the last session on this chapter, that is optional exercise. First one, a copper wire 3 mm in diameter is wound about a cylinder whose length is 12 cm. So we have a cylinder here. So on the cylinder length is 12 centimeter. Sorry. Height of the cylinder is 12 centimeter. Now we have wound a copper wire on that. So we usually see, right, we have a rod or this copper wire, we wound it. Just wound a copper wire. Now a copper wire 3 mm in diameter. Assume that this is the copper wire. I'll just draw here. Okay. Of course, this thick copper wire will not be there. This can be a copper wire if you wound it. But if I have to show this is a copper wire's diameter is 3 mm. Understood? Whose diameter? Imagine the wire to be so thin, which diameter is 3 mm, so radius is 3 by 2 mm. So this 3 mm diameter copper wire is wound about a cylinder whose length is 12 cm and diameter of the cylinder is 10 cm. Let us first write down the dimensions of cylinder here. Then let's see what all they have asked. So cylinder I will write, because further also if you have to use this you should know. So diameter of the cylinder is 10 cm. So radius is 5 cm. Its length, which is nothing but height, that is also 12 cm. This much is about the cylinder. Now about the copper wire. Right? Whose diameter is 3 mm. That means radius is 3 by 2 mm. Keep this as it is in millimeter. We'll see later during the conversion part. So, as to cover the curved surface area of a cylinder, find the length and mass of the wire, assuming that the density of copper is 8.88 gram per centimeter. Now finally what we have to find, I need to know how much length of the copper wire is required. I should know first, and apart from that I should also find the mass of the wire. To find the mass of the wire, first I should know the volume, because mass formula can be given by density with respect to volume, right? So let's start with this. Now see, this is what I have to wound it, correct? On this I wound the copper wire. So how many wounds I have to wound it? One round, second round, third round. So how many wounding I have to do? 10, 12, 13, 14. So that it will cover the length of 12 centimeter of the cylinder. It has to completely cover right from the starting part to end part. No overlapping. Just you have to roll it. Such how many rounds you have to do, you have to calculate. Now that will depend upon the number of, what is the diameter of that into the length of the cylinder will give you its length of the copper wire, total length of the copper wire. Let's write down. I will just write here N into number of wounds of copper wire is equal to length of the cylinder. Is this correct what I have written? For example, say if I wound 10 rounds, that will give me length of the cylinder. Now what do I know? I know that length of the cylinder, how much it is I know, which is 12 centimeter. Now N into number of wounds of the copper wire. That means, for example, N each round. Now when I cover that one round, so just see that one round if I am covering, that one round has a diameter of how much? It has a 3 mm diameter. Okay, 3 mm is equal to 12 centimeter, right? So 12 centimeter in terms of millimeter, how do you write? Into 10. I made this also in terms of millimeter. See, finally I want how many rounds? Either you convert centimeter to millimeter or millimeter to centimeter. Both the entities should be in one thing only when you check the rounds. N is equal to 120 by 3. Therefore, N is equal to 40 wounds or 40 rounds I can tell here. Such 40 rounds if I do, it will cover the length of the cylinder. This part is very clear? Okay. Further we do it now. I'm going to erase this part now. I'll just write here 40 rounds. Now what they have asked, let us see. The next part. I only know what is the number of rounds of the copper wire. Now I should know what is the length of the copper wire used in this. Length of copper wire. This is what we have to find out now. So, one wound of copper wire around the cylinder is equal to 1 circumference. Correct? One round of the wire will cover 1 circumference. Such how many rounds I am doing? 40 rounds. Therefore, 40 wounds, 40 into 2 pi r. Keep pi as it is. 40 into 2 into pi into r is how much? 5. 4 2s are 8. 8 5s are 40. 400 pi. Length of the copper wire is 400 pi centimeter. Keep this also as it is now. Length of the copper wire. Okay. Length of CU is equal to 400 pi. Okay. Next part. I'll erase this children again. Still our sum is there. It is not over. Next part. What they have asked now? Find the length. Done. We are completed with the length part. First part is over. Mass of the wire. To find the mass of the wire, I actually want what here? Volume. Why? Because find the mass they have given. To find the mass is equal to density is equal to mass by volume, right? So volume has to be found out first. Volume of copper wire. Now copper wire is in what shape? It is in the cylindrical shape. So pi r square h. So this h is for the whole or r is for the copper only. Substitute. So this is pi, keep it as it is. Don't do anything with the pi. Now r is in terms of millimeter. Now I have to convert that in terms of centimeter, right? So into 3 by 20 whole square. In terms of centimeter I have done this. If you want to write 3 by 20 centimeter into h. What is h? H is nothing but length of the copper wire. If you want, you can write it here. Length of the copper wire, what you have written now in bracket, you can just mention this as h. What is the length of the copper wire used? Length of the copper wire used is 400 pi. Very clear till here? To find the volume of the copper wire, pi r square h. R was in terms of millimeter, I converted that in terms of centimeter. H is nothing but the length of the copper wire. Length of cylinder is different here. So h we got it here. So keep this pi square as this. Pi square into 9 into 400 divided by 400. Cancel. So volume of copper wire is equal to 9 pi square centimeter cube. Okay. Now the last part. Over. We calculated everything. Now finally what they have asked here? They have asked find the length and mass of the wire assuming that density of the copper wire is so much. Right. Given. D stands for density. or density only I'll write. Density of copper wire is equal to 8.88 gram per centimeter cube. Therefore, density formula is what? Is equal to mass by volume. Therefore, mass is equal to density into volume. Do the multiplication. Density is how much? That is density. I'm sorry. What are we supposed to find out? Density is given. Density. I'm so sorry. Density we have given here. That's what I went wrong, children. Once again. Assuming that density of the copper wire is so much, find the mass of the copper wire. Yes, I wrote the wrong. Mass is equal to density into volume. That is what we have to find out. Density is 8.88 into volume is 9 pi square. Now pi value they have not given anything. Choose pi as found appropriate. 8.88 into 9 into 22 by 7 into 22 by 7. Final at once. 22 by 7 what we will calculate. Do these calculations. You will get mass as 788.77 grams. Okay. So we'll go with the next one. Optional sums are quite lengthy here. See, there are totally 7 optional sums given, out of which 6th and 7th I will not be solving because they are derivations. Derivations are not important. You can just go through the derivations in the textbook just for your reference. So we'll be doing only first 5 sums here. Okay. And the next one. Right triangle whose sides are 3 cm and 4 cm. So let us consider a right triangle first of all. Let A, B, C be a right triangle whose sides are 3 cm and 4 cm, which is right angle at B. Other than hypotenuse they have given. Is made to revolve about its hypotenuse. Now it's made to revolve about its hypotenuse. I will redraw this. Okay, this is hypotenuse. Because let the original figure be. If the original figure itself is not there, second half when I do this, you will not understand what went where. So this is 4, this is 3 and this is 4. Is made to revolve about its, what you can say is hypotenuse. Simple. Now this is a triangle, right? It is made to revolve about its triangle. Just draw it and imagine that in a 3-dimensional figure. So when you make to revolve about its axis, the figure becomes like this. So this B part is here now, B dash, same thing. Okay, but when you do this, what actually forms? It forms 2 cones. One cone here and another cone here. See, a triangle, if you rotate it around its any of the sides, you had that you had some of the numericals in your 9th standard. One side you rotate, another side you rotate, but here you are revolving about its hypotenuse. So in a 3-dimensional way, when you revolve it, you get a double cone actually, right? Which I can't be showing it practically to you. Quite impossible, but just try to visualize it. Just try to watch some videos on this. You will understand when you revolve it how a double cone is formed, right? Quite impossible to just show in a piece of a paper. So a double cone is formed. Which is a cone now? Now this is a cone and this is a cone. That means, is this figure very clear? That is why B dash I have written. So this part is R, or I can talk about is, no, let me not consider anything here. I'll keep this as it is. First let us come to this figure now. Okay, let us talk about this. This point of intersection I will call it as a D. Okay, let me come to this figure again. Second sum. triangle ABC, angle B is equal to 90 degree. Therefore, by Pythagoras theorem, what should be the measure of the hypotenuse? 5. But still you have to show that AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square. Pythagoras theorem. So AC square, what you have to find? AB square is how much? 3 square plus 4 square, 9 plus 16. AC square is equal to 25 and AC is equal to 5 centimeter. Okay, so hypotenuse AC is equal to 5 centimeter. This part is 5 centimeter, whole AC. Remember that. Now very clear here what we have drawn. This hypotenuse, when you rotate, you will get it in this manner. Okay, this part is done. Now what I will do here is, for the same triangle, I will consider one perpendicular. In triangle ABC, BD is perpendicular to AC. Okay, we will draw, we'll imagine that first. Now still we have not revolved it around its hypotenuse. We are still in the first figure only. I have already drawn after reading the question. I will come to this question part later. We'll just solve the remaining portion in this and then we'll come to this. In triangle ABC, BD is perpendicular to AC. Area of triangle ABC is equal to, first, half into base into height. So I can say half into base is BC, height is AB. So half into 4 into 3, 2 2s are. So area of triangle ABC is equal to 6 centimeter square. Equation 1. Okay. Again, I will write it here. Area of triangle ABC, again I will write, is equal to, can also be written as half into base into height. But this time, half into base into height, I will take my base as AC. Can I take? Yes, I can take. Why? Because I have drawn AD perpendicular to, I have drawn BD perpendicular to AC. So for the second time, what I will do now, area of triangle ABC is equal to half into base into height. Now my base is AC. With respect to AC, what should be my height? BD should be my height. So, but what is area of triangle ABC? 6 centimeter square, right here, is equal to half into AC is how much? 5 into BD. So from equation 1, 6 into 2 divided by 5 is equal to BD. So BD is equal to 12 by 5, 5 2s are 10, 5 4s are 20. BD is equal to 2.4 centimeter. Is this part very clear? Okay. I am going to rub this part now, because the first basic what we have to write it, we have only the 1/4 part we have covered. We have only covered the given part. And now we are supposed to revolve the given triangle on its hypotenuse, which we will be doing it. This is very clear, right? Okay. Let us now revolve it around its hypotenuse and see what will happen. We have already drawn it here, right? So when I revolve it around the hypotenuse, this is somehow I get given, or by data, revolve only they have given, is made to here. Revolve about its hypotenuse, therefore double cones are formed. Now, which are the double cones which are formed here? A B, B dash and C, B, B dash respectively. Double cones are formed. Now this is one cone and this is another cone. Two cones are formed here. I just named the cone. A, B, B dash and C, B and B dash. Let us now when I talk about first cone and second cone, I know the radius part here. I know this part which is given. BD part we know. What is BD? BD is nothing but height, what we have found out, right? Let us write down that one thing and or let us use that later whenever required. If this is very clear, let's proceed with the next part of the sum. What is the question now? Direct question will go with find the volume and surface area of the double cone so formed. So, volume of double cone is equal to volume of cone 1, which is nothing but A, B, B dash plus volume of cone 2, which is C, B, B dash. What is volume of cone formula? It is 1 by 3 pi r square h1 plus 1 by 3 pi r square h2. Why? Because r remains the same. Now what is the r? BD is the r, right? If you want, you can write it here, children. BD is equal to R is equal to 2.4 centimeter. Just mention this one, please. Radius for both the cone has to be same, right? Because it is revolved about its hypotenuse. What is common here? Height is not the same, but 1 by 3, pi is common, r square is common, h1 plus h2. 1 by 3 pi r square. What is h1? Height of the cone is AD plus height of this cone is CD. AD plus CD. What is AD plus CD? 1 by 3 pi is 22 by 7 into r square, where your r square is 2.4 into 2.4 of AC. What is AC? 5 centimeter. Hypotenuse. 1 by 3 into 22 by 7 into 2.4 into 2.4 into 5. Do the final calculation. So, volume of double cone is equal to 30.14 centimeter cube. Okay. Next part, what we have to find? Surface area. Surface area of these both the cones we have to find out. Shall I erase only this part now? Okay. I don't give up this part and just change that to surface area. Surface area of double cone is equal to surface area of cone 1 plus surface area of cone 2. Surface area formula pi r L1 plus pi r L2. Slant height. So this is 3. Now this is 4. This is made to rotate. So just imagine now this 3 centimeter and 4 centimeter. It will fall this side. So what it has to be? So again, of slant height of this cone, children. Now this is slant height of first cone. Okay. Take pi r common, L1 plus L2. 22 by 7 into 2.4 of 4 plus 3. Slant height of cone 1 and slant height of cone 3. This is also slant height. Anything one can be this or this. Even if you don't write the dimensions here, doesn't matter. You just have the dimensions of these two cones here. 22 by 7 into 2.4 into 7. Cancel. 22 into 24 is 52.75 centimeter square. Once you get the figure and once you know the NAPCOR calculation, actually the second part of solution is very easy. You are just supposed to find the surface area of a double cone and volume of a double cone. But to arrive at that, what is your radius? How did you arrive at this? That's very much important here. We'll go for the next one. A cistern internally measuring 150 centimeter by 120 by 110 has 1,29,600 centimeter cube of water in it. So first of all, let's find volume of a cistern. So I will write here a cistern which is given as length as 150 centimeter, breadth as 120 centimeter and height as 110 centimeter. Volume of cistern is equal to length into breadth into height, 150 into 120 into 110, which is centimeter cube. Okay, next. What they have given? Volume to be filled in cistern. They have already told that a cistern which measures has so much amount of water. Volume of water present. Is equal to 129,600 centimeter cube. Therefore, if this much of water is present, how much you are supposed to fill? Volume of water to be filled. Just a practice. 198,234 minus 129,600. That is equal to 1850,400 centimeter cube. This much amount of volume. See, simple, I'll tell you. You have a cistern whose volume is so much. It already has some water present in it. So if you have a glass and a glass has half water filled, how much you are supposed to fill more? You are supposed to fill half more, right? If it has 1/4 filled, how much you are supposed to fill? You are supposed to fill 3/4. That's what they have given and we found out here, till here. Next one. Porous bricks are placed in the water until the cistern is filled to the brim. Each brick absorbs 1/17th of its own volume of water. So how many bricks can be put without overflowing the water, each brick being the dimension? So first of all, let us find the dimensions. So shall I erase this part? There is a lot more to be done. So just erase this values and just remember what we have to substitute and where. Okay. Next. So let us assume that this is about the bricks. So length of the brick is given as 22.9 centimeter. Breadth is given as 7.5 centimeter. Height is given as 6.5 centimeter. Let X number of bricks be placed in the system, because we don't know, we need to place some number, right, so that it will not overflow. Let X number of bricks to be placed in the system. Therefore, volume of x bricks. X into length into breadth into height. X remains as it is. It's an unknown number. X into 22.5 into 7.5 into 6.5. So volume will be how much here? 1096.875 x centimeter cube. This is volume of the bricks. Into x, because we don't know how many bricks are there. That means this is volume of one brick into number of those bricks what we have to place in this. Now come to the question. Each brick absorbs 1/17 of its own volume. Given each brick absorbs 1/17 of its own volume. So how do you write? Which is nothing but given by 1/17 of what? Own volume is what? This volume. Each brick will absorb 1/17 of its own volume of this 1096.875 of x. Okay, x, and anything can be taken, some number, some unknown thing. So each brick will absorb 1/17 of its volume. Now, n into volume of one brick is equal to what actually? Volume of remaining water plus water absorbed by n bricks. See, now our last thing is to fill the cistern. How we have to fill the cistern? Full? No. The cistern is already filled with some amount of water. That we know how much amount of water. Remaining has to be filled. How it has to be filled? Filled in such a way that I need to dip the bricks. How many bricks? N number of bricks, such that each brick will absorb 1/17 of its own volume. So n into volume of one brick is equal to volume of the remaining water. I should know that. Plus water absorbed by one brick. So if I add these two, I will get how many here? Yes? Let's do this long calculation, children. See, the sum seems to be very difficult at the first go when you do. But if you actually understand step by step what I have done, how we have written, you will get an idea. Now see, our work is done. I have arrived at the final part now, where my work is to only substitute. My work, it will be done. Once I substitute, what will I get? I know volume of one brick. I know volume of remaining water. I know water absorbed by n brick. Everything is there. Our work is to only substitute now and find the n. But lots of calculations in that. So n into volume of one brick is what there? So this is 1096.875, sorry, x into we have taken, no? So x is equal to volume of the remaining water. How much? We subtracted in the beginning. 1850,400 plus water absorbed by n bricks. What was the water absorbed by those many bricks? Where it is? It's here. 1096 by 875 x of 17. So now what you have to do? I am going to give you only x answer. I'll just explain what you will do. It is here. You will shift it this side. Take LCM, multiply. Linear equation form. This is the linear equation sum, but a lengthier number in linear equation. Okay? So finally you will get x value as 1792.4103. Can we have these many number of bricks in terms of fraction? No, not possible, right? So approximately I will write this as 1792. So approximately how many bricks? It could be 1792 bricks I need to put in the system so that it is filled and the water is not overflowed. Just shift this x term here, children. LCM would be 17. Multiply this by 17. You will get 2 x terms. So we have to subtract that actually. 17 gets cross multiplied with this. X is equal to, then division part. A long process what you have it over here. Actually a lengthy sum, what I can say, with lengthy calculations. Such questions appear in your exams. Better opt in for the last, so that you will not waste your whole time in the same sum, right? Quite a difficult sum because calculations are too much in this rather than understanding this. See, understanding part you will do it, but calculation you need to be very careful. So you can just keep that at the end of the paper. Once you are done with everything, you can solve this sum. So that we have ample of time to do it. We have 2 more sums to go similarly, but not that difficult as this. We'll just check the 4th and 5th one now. Next one, 4th one. In one fortnight of a given month, there were rainfall of 10 centimeter in a river valley. If the area of the valley is, there is a small change here, children. Area of the valley is, it is given as 97280 kilometer square, right? You have to make it 7280. Strike out 9 from it. That is an error actually what they have given. So with reference to all-in-one and other reference book, when I referred the same question, it is 7280. They have given here it as 97,280, which is wrong. So you have to delete this 9 and make it as 7280. Okay? Do that changes. Show that the total rainfall was approximately equivalent to the addition to the normal water of these 3 rivers, each along the centimeters given. So first of all, let us understand what the starting what they have given here is. What have they given? They have given us area of valley. Write down that. Area of valley, which is 7280 kilometer square. What is height of the rainfall? They have given here it as, there was a rainfall of 10 centimeter. That's the height of the rainfall. H, height of the rainfall is equal to 10 centimeter. First of all, convert 10 centimeter in terms of meter. See here. 1 centimeter is equal to 1 by 100 meter. Then 1 meter is equal to 1 by 1000 kilometer. So if I have to convert this centimeter to kilometer, then that will be how much? So that will be 10 upon first meter, then kilometer. Is the conversion very clear what I have done? Just erase this part. You can cancel that as well later. Okay? So 1 0 and 1 0 will get cancelled. So 1 upon kilometer. Keep that as it is. Next, amount of rainfall. How do you calculate now? Amount of rainfall. I will calculate that in terms of area of valley into height of the rainfall. Okay, so area of the valley is how much? 7280 into 1 upon 2, 3, 0, 0. Further calculation, when you do this, shift those number of zeros. 0.728 kilometer cube. Area of rainfall. What that is nothing but the volume what we actually calculate here. Keep this as it is. Next part. Length of the river. length of the river. Is it given? Yes. Length of the river is given as 1072 kilometer. Then breadth of the river is given as how much? It is given as 75 meter, which is 75 by 1000 kilometer. Convert that in terms of kilometer. Then what have they given? They have also given depth. Depth is nothing but height. Height of the river is how much? 3 meter, which is 3 by 1000 kilometer. Everything in terms of kilometer what we have to convert here. Next part, volume of river. We can consider this as a cuboidal form here, right? Length into breadth into height. That is 1072 into 75 by 1000 into 3 by 1000. So final answer I'll give you here after cancellation, multiplying, dividing, 0.2412 kilometer cube. This is volume of river. Now the final part is they have asked us what is the volume of water in all the three rivers. Volume of water in three rivers is what? 3 into 0.2412, which is 0.7236 kilometer cube is the answer. It's not very complicated, but if you actually understand what is given, you have to just substitute and do it. Only the starting part what we have to understand is this. Later part is very simple. And the next one. As I have told, the two derivations will not be done. You can go through that in the textbook, and it's not as important as what they have asked here. So the last question, fifth one. A oil funnel, you have a figure also given over here. So what shape it is? It is a shape of a frustum with a cylinder, right? So a oil funnel is made up of tin, consists of 10 centimeter long cylindrical pipe. So this is 10 centimeter, which is nothing but height of the cylinder, and a portion attached to a frustum of a coal. Total height is 22 centimeter. Total height. Okay. Then cylindrical portion. Let us start writing the dimensions now. First we'll write about the cylinder. So when we talk about the cylinder here, if the total height is 22, the diametrical portion of the cylindrical portion is 8 centimeter. So cylinder diameter is 8 centimeter, this part. Therefore, radius is 4 centimeter. Height of the cylinder is anyhow given 10 centimeter. Come to the frustum now. So in the frustum part, if you actually go to see, what I will consider now this as R1. So this will be R2. Okay. So they have given diameter of the frustum of the top funnel part is 18 centimeter. Therefore R1 is equal to 9 centimeter. This is R2. Because this will share the same radius with that. Right? So I'll consider that as R2. Then height also, what we will do, height of the frustum and cylinder is separate. This I'll take H2 only. Now height of the frustum is required. H2 whole is how much? 22 minus 10, that is equal to 12 centimeter. H1. What is 10 centimeter? This part is 12 centimeter. We also require, what we have to find here, everything is written. Find the area of the tin sheet required to make the funnel. Now area of the tin sheet required is the CSA. How much area is required? That means you need to find L also here. So let's first find the L part, that is slant height part. Now slant height formula, what it is? These things are already done. So slant height formula for frustum of a cone is square root of h square plus it is r1 minus r2 whole square. Correct? So h square is 12 square plus 9 minus 4 whole square. 144 plus 5 square. 144 plus 25. L is equal to root of 169. Therefore, L is equal to 13 centimeter. Slant height is 13. Over. Last part. What we have to write? What they have asked. Find the area of the tin sheet. Area of tin sheet required. I think this was the most simplest sum in this optional exercise actually. A direct sum I can say here. Area of a tin sheet required to make the funnel is equal to CSA of frustum plus CSA of cylinder. CSA of frustum is pi R1 plus R2 of L plus this one is 2 pi R. What is that R? R2. What is that H? H2. Mention that because which is more required. Here H is H1, no? I'll just mention that H1 because we should know which H are we using it here. So let's take something common. What we can take common here? Only pi we can take common because everything is in form of a plus. You can't take anything else common. So R1 plus R2. R1 is how much? 9 plus 4 of 13 plus 2 into R2 which is 4 into H2 which is 10. Simplify this total, you will get answer as 5478 divided by 7 centimeters squared. It's an improper fraction. Convert that in terms of mixed fraction if you want. 782 of 4 centimeters squared. Can this be the answer or this can be the answer? So with this we complete the chapter surface area and volume. So you have lot many worked examples given in this as well as some extra questions given in the question bank. You can solve them. More and more sums you solve, you get practice over this chapter.